it will become the norm of the use of the internet space. I say this cognizant of the fact that there are countries like the UK that do not have a constitution, but they have the modes of how they operate. So we need to start talking about safe mtandaoni, and that only can come from us discussing as Kenyans, leaders, and all involved parties. The Senator Mazayo, I think, Judge Mazayo, asked a question on hatua gani tunachukua sisi kama wizara. Mheshimiwa Speaker, sheria moja ambayo tumesema imepelekwa kotini ilikuwa ni sheria ya kuweza kuondoa yale maneno imewekwa mitandaoni na kuweka chini, lakini mahakama imesimamisha sheria ile na zingine ambazo zilikuwa nia yetu kama wizara kwa kutengeza ile sheria ni kuweza kuruhusu shirika kama Communication Authority kuweza kuondoa mitandaoni hizo habari au maneno hayo ambao yanatekelezwa katika mtandao. Tunahofia, Mheshimiwa Speaker, kuwa hivi karibuni hiyo koti itaweza kuondoa hizo maneno za kuzuia ili tuweze kung'ang'ana na story ya kuweza kuondoa habari mbaya au maneno mbaya ambayo inafanyika mitandaoni. Mheshimiwa Speaker, I think it was Senator Eddie, who says we need to have very clear as a ministry on the framework that we are doing. I tried, Madam Speaker, to explain on the frameworks, but you directed that I do not go into details. I undertake, Madam Speaker, to be able to bring a comprehensive answer on the frameworks and what it is the ministry is doing currently and the proposed actions in the future to make sure that this space is free and good for our children to indulge. I submit, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Eddie, what is your intervention? Certainly it cannot be a point of order.
Mr. Speaker, I think that either the minister got my question wrong or did not just answer it at all. I did not ask about legal frameworks, Mr. Speaker. I indicated that the minister has centered on legal frameworks that exist. What I asked the minister is, how is the ministry holding platforms accountable? Because the legal frameworks are there to ensure that there is robust standards, to ensure that the safety standards are implemented according to our constitution within those legal frameworks, to ensure that there is fast reporting mechanisms, and to ensure that there is protection of minors. All these things exist. What is lacking is how do you hold those stakeholders who are owning these platforms accountable? For instance, Meta, that owns Facebook, that owns WhatsApp, that owns IG, are registered in Ireland. They're not registered in Kenya, yet their platforms are distributing content that do have impact on our children. What is the ministry doing to hold Meta accountable? What is the ministry doing to hold TikTok accountable? What is the ministry doing to hold these all social media platforms accountable to the frameworks and standards that have been established by the country? That's my question.
Yes, Honorable, yes.
Mr. Speaker, I quite agree with Senator Eddie that the issue of framework had been exhaustively explained. On what we are doing, Mr. Speaker, with players like TikTok and Meta, one action is the takedown action. The other action, Mr. Speaker, is that Communications Authority, through regulations, has been mandated now to stop operations of those platforms in the event of breach. But again, Mr. Speaker, we have issues that people run to court to stop us from doing certain things. But we have undertaken to be able to deal with these broadcasters be it TikTok, be it Facebook. And some of them, Mr. Speaker, we have also given conditions in their licensing that they must have offices here in Kenya, so that in the event of issues that they have brought up on their platforms, they should be held accountable here in Kenya. And you remember, Mr. Speaker, if I may add, a platform like the one for Elon Musk, we have given them temporary approval licenses to operate in Kenya on condition that in the next 3 months they shall have an office here. So we are taking action by having them here in Kenya and being subjected to our laws and measures that are there to protect our children. I submit, Mr.
Senator Boni.
Speaker, Mr. Speaker, 2 weeks ago, Safaricom announced profits of 100 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker. What is the minister doing to ensure that this theft, open theft, by a company which is not in business but is doing profiteering, young people are protected by having access to cheaper rates of using ICT? Especially, Mr. Speaker, in view of the fact that your government promised Kenyans, especially the youth, free Wi-Fi for them to be elected.
Senator Munyehaji.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Yangu mimi ni swala kuhusiana na matangazo ya rejareja kuhusiana na mambo ya kamari, yani betting. Ukifungua redio kila baada ya dakika 10 kuna tangazo la betting. Kila baada ya dakika 10 kuna tangazo la betting. Je, wizara yako Mheshimiwa Kabogo inafanya nini kupunguza ama kuondoa kabisa haya matangazo ya kamari ambayo yamekithiri katika vyombo vya habari katika nchi yetu?
Senator Kathuri.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity also to ask my supplementary question. Mr. Speaker, the question asked by Senator Aminda Kibwana falls under the law that we passed in this House last year, which is the Computer Misuse and the Cybercrimes Amendment Act 2025. Mr. Speaker, that is where you'll find we amended the Principal Act by inserting subsections in Section 6, JA, which now refers to where it is proved that a website or application promotes unlawful activities, inappropriate sexual content of a minor, terrorism or religious extremism, and cultism. So, Mr. Speaker, my question is, what is the ministry doing to operationalize this law, Mr. Speaker? Because there are a lot of cyberbullying, Mr. Speaker. Yours truly is actually, I am a culprit this week, Mr. Speaker, where something is circulating in social media that I was in a place somewhere, I can remind you, I don't know what it was, Mr. Speaker. Somebody pretending to have voice in Bias like Kaduri Murungi, which is not myself, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, my question is, because there are so many such issues, even I saw one time, Mr. Speaker, the President of the Republic of Kenya was actually in these cyber crimes, in a coffin somewhere like he's dead, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, so many cases are being reported. I'll circulate to you.
Order, Senator Fernandez.
So, Mr. Speaker, my question is, because there are so many cases which are being reported out there, but the police, even once you go report to the CID, they have nothing to do. They cannot protect you, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm asking this question painfully, that I passed this law in this House, I voted for it, I'm now a culprit, and Mr. Speaker, this law is not even helping me, because I went to ask very senior CID officers, and they told me there is nothing much they can do, because they need a lot of technology so that they can identify the source, who was the principal source of this misuse, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Kibwana, even though she approached me yesterday, and it's like she knows who was the first person to do this thing. Because the questions she asked me yesterday, it's like there are so much reading. Like even she's aware who was this person who did this to me. Character assassination.
Thank you, Senator Katuru. You've asked
so my
your
question is the operationalization of this law, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable CS, thank you so much for a comprehensive report. But Kenya is becoming well known for good laws, good constitution, no implementation. You admit to the fact that the gambling companies that are operating in Kenya and misleading our young people are way more than the ones that are legal. I would want to know exactly who is supposed to deregister these companies, because you cannot come here and say there are so many that are not working. It is the executive that should actually be implementing the law that should not facilitate such companies to operate, because we know what they are doing to our young people.
Senator Karungo.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and good morning, CS. Mr. Speaker, I'm always happy when I see a citizen of Kiambu serving the nation. My question, having scanned through the response, which I can say is unusually honest, because it reveals weak enforcement, weak data, and weak accountability, my question is, from the report, only 15 out of 224 gambling and betting firms are fully registered. That is, 93% of them are not registered. My question is, can the CS explain why? Because they are out there collecting data from Kenyan citizens and mostly Kenyan minors. That is in your report, table 1. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chesang.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have one concern, Mr. Speaker, and I would also like to know what the ministry, what is the ministry's plan in terms of solving this issue. Mr. Speaker, the government has spent so much money to put infrastructure and open so many ICT hubs in the country, including in our polytechnics, the ones that are being built now, the Center of Excellence, and the ones that are deployed through our Member of Parliaments, the 1,450 hubs in the country. Mr. Speaker, personally, as the ICT chairman, I have so far accompanied the ministry in opening so many of those ICT hubs. And my worry is the ones that have gone back to, Mr. Speaker, are not working in the way that they are intended to work, in terms of assisting many of our youths, creating employment, and...
Senator Allen, what is your question?
I'm going
and
to
avoid
ask my
making
question.
a speech.
I'm asking my question. So, Mr. Speaker, many of our youths are not monetizing in those ICT hubs. So, the 1450 hubs, my question is now that the 1450 hubs that are being built across the country in each and every ward, what is the ministry's plan in making sure that when these hubs are finished, and we have many of our youths across in all these 47 counties in these hubs, what is the measures that the ministry is taking to make sure that once these hubs are fully equipped, that they can serve the purpose that they're supposed to be intended to to do. Because
Senator
most of them,
Mazayo. Ask a question. Well, Senator Mazayo, I'm told you had already asked a supplementary question. Under standing order, you're only allowed one to ask one supplementary question. So, CS Kabogo, you had noted the question by Senator Mazayo. You need to clarify further because the Honorable Senator is saying it was inadequately responded to. You may proceed, CS.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, swala la Mheshimiwa Mazayo nilijaribu sana kwa lugha yetu ya Kiswahili kujibu. I did it to the best of my ability as I sit here. But Mr. Speaker, as I started answering supplementary questions, I did give an undertaking that after we get proper questions on the handset, the ministry will undertake to bring a supplementary paper on all questions that are asked on the floor of the House. Mr. Speaker, on the question asked by the Honorable Boni on the issue of Safaricom, I'm afraid, Mr. Speaker, I am not aware of Safaricom making dubious profits. I probably would want to seek further guidance on that statement the Honorable Boni asked. But on the issue of Wi-Fi, we did promise, yes, Kenyans, that we shall put public hotspots. Initially, Mr. Speaker, only about 3,500 public Wi-Fi hotspots were working when I joined the ministry. And the problem that we have on the many that are not working is that sustainability issues were not considered during inception. And a team has been put together, Mr. Speaker, to make sure that we get a sustainable way of maintaining, because some of them is not even bills, it is just an issue of maintenance. What we have proposed and are doing now in the ministry on the issue of public Wi-Fi, Mr. Speaker, is to give this Wi-Fi business to the young boys and girls where they are, for them to maintain on a small fee of about 5 shillings for anyone who wants to use this Wi-Fi. It's now undergoing public participation between the ministry and other involved parties, so that we may actualize the issue of making sure that public Wi-Fi hotspots are maintained by young Kenyan boys and girls where they are. So I envisage, Mr. Speaker, that by the end of the year, we should have about 10,000 public Wi-Fi hotspots working and running in those public areas. Mr. Speaker, on the issue of betting kutoka kwa Mheshimiwa Haji, nilisema katika taarifa niliyopeana hapa, Mheshimiwa Speaker, kuwa shida kubwa sana imetokezana na mambo ya betting, na 70% ya shida nyingi ambazo zinapatikana mitandaoni haswa zinakuja kulingana na mambo hayo ya betting. Tuna habari kwamba, Mheshimiwa Speaker, hata vijana wengine hushikia wamama nyumbani kisu, ampe 100 ili akaweze kwenda kufanya maneno ya betting. Kwa hivyo kipaumbele katika wizara yetu ya mawasiliano ni kuweza kufuatia sheria ambazo zimewekwa. Japokuwa changamoto, Mheshimiwa Speaker, ni kuwa kila sheria ikiwekwa na ni sheria nzuri, wa Kenya hukimbia kotini haraka na kuweza kusimamisha. Lakini Mheshimiwa Speaker, nipeane ahadi hapa katika bunge la Senate kuwa wizara itakabiliana na shida hizi zinaambatana na maneno ya betting vilivyo, ili tuweze kusaidia nchi yetu kusonga mbele bila shida hizi za betting controls. Mheshimiwa Speaker, on the other matter raised by the Honorable Katuri, a very serious concern, yes. Many of us have suffered. And this is what, Mr. Speaker, I expressed in my statement, that we already now have laws and regulations to be able to deal with this issue, especially one, the take-down part of it, which, Mr. Speaker, I have said we've been stopped by the current matter in court, and we hope that this matter will be cleared soonest for us to be able to take action. Also, Mr. Speaker, we have a committee between the ministry, the regulators, and the office of DPP to make sure that most of these cases are prosecuted ASAP. Again, we have a problem there because, as you know, our criminal procedure systems require certain procedures to happen as people are taken to for criminal prosecution, Mr. Speaker. From Senator Karongo, he asked, out of 224 cases of licensing, only 15 are fully licensed. The others are partially, I have explained there. But, Mr. Speaker, we've given the agencies 40 days to be able to make sure that those that are in the process of properly registering are registered within that period, without which their licenses should be cancelled, Mr. Speaker. And that is ongoing, Mr. Speaker. Senator Chisang asked on the issue of the 1,450 digital hubs and what plans we have. Mr. Speaker, we currently have trainings going on for young Kenyans who will be engaged as trainers to be taken into those digital hubs where they shall become trainers of trainers to train those that will be responsible for training young Kenyans who are using these digital hubs as platforms for digital economy. I want to tell the House that also recently we have engaged a company that is giving us 700,000 trainings to young men and women, which will be issued with certificates of online platform using. So the ministry is aware. We're also a little bit slow on the issue of completion of these digital hubs, and we have spoken to members of parliament to try and expedite the construction of these digital hubs. We currently are having devices to take to those that are ready, and this exercise is ongoing, and Senator Chesang, being the chair of the ICT committee, is very involved in the process of bringing these hubs to working. What was the other one? I think that's all, Mr. Speaker, unless I have missed any. But again, Mr. Speaker, as I said, I undertake to bring in, once we get the answer to get the proper questions, we shall bring in a substantive answer for each and every one of them. I submit.
Yes, Senator Kathuri. What's your intervention?
Honorable Speaker, I'm not sure whether you attempted to answer my question. So maybe you can do that before he leaves.
Mr. Speaker, this is the one that I said we are having issues on taking down those things that, for example, what I have seen that you referred to because of the current court case. We are trying to lift that ban in court so that we can start doing it. But our hands are tied at the moment. But between us and the regulators and those that are involved, there is something the ministry is doing to make sure that we can put a stop to them before they are aired. And that is happening. Again, not trying to circumvent the matter that is before court, Mr. Speaker. But again, I said we shall try and make sure that you have comprehensive answers to each and every question. And we even ask those that had supplementary questions that they didn't ask, if they can be forwarded to the ministry, we shall be more than willing to answer, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sears. You may now take leave. Honorable Senators, we will move to question number 027 by the Senator for Kisumu County, the Honorable Tom Ojenda. Honorable CS, welcome back to the Senate. We'll straight away go to question number 027 by the Senator for Kisumu County, the Honorable Tom Ojenda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'm Senator Beth Siengo, standing in for Senator Professor Ojenda. The question goes, could the Cabinet Secretary outline the measures the ministry has adopted to cushion small-scale traders against eroded profit margins caused by the rising cost of essential commodities? Part B, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether the ministry intends to expand access to affordable credit through the Hustler Fund, SACCOs, or other credit guarantee schemes for informal traders in Kisumu County, given that the current interest rates remain as high as 23 to 24%. Part C, what safeguards exist to ensure that women and youth traders who form the majority in Kisumu's informal markets are equitably included in these credit support programs? I submit.
Honorable CS, you may respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I wish to respond to question number 27 by the Senator for Kisumu County. Honorable Speaker, on A, the ministry, through the state agencies, has implemented multiple initiatives to support and cushion small-scale traders against eroded profit margins caused by the rising cost of essential commodities. The ministry, through Micro Small Enterprises Authority, MSEA, has rolled out quite a number of targeted strategies and flagship projects aimed at enhancing MSME resilience, creating decent jobs, and positioning youth-owned enterprises as key drivers of inclusive economic transformation. Some of the intervention and measures include grants and affordable financing, market access platforms, capacity building, digital transformation, constituency industrial development centers, CIDCs, work sites in various markets, modern markets being built, cold storage facilities, formalization of MSMEs, and circular economy and value chains. For number B, Mr. Speaker, in order to ensure expanded access of affordable credit to all Kenyans, and particularly in Kisumu County, the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME Development has expanded access to affordable credit through the Hustler Fund, which is available to all Kenyans 18 years and above,
at the interest rate of 8% per annum for those who repay on time, and 9.5% for those whose loans are beyond 14 days. The ministry also, through Kenya Industrial Estates, promotes small and medium industries with a focus on rural industrialization. Kenyans, including Kisumu traders,
and specifically those with focus on machinery, qualify for credit facility with an interest rate of 10% per annum. The ministry has also supported the development and growth of savings and credit cooperatives, SACCOs. SACCOs are key players in the realization of Vision 2030 and the Kenya Kwanza plan of bottom-up economic transformation agenda by mobilizing savings and credit uptake for investment. For C, Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Cooperatives and MSME Development through UWESO Fund aims to enhance the socio-economic empowerment of women, youth, persons with disabilities through entrepreneurship training, provision of affordable credit, market linkages, and mentorship. The program is delivered at the constituency level as a revolving fund whose activities are implemented by the respective constituency UWESO Fund Management Committee. The fund has provided affordable credit amounting to 197,984,000 to 2,212 groups, 1389 women groups, 745 youth groups, and 78 groups of PWDs. These groups have benefited with Kenya shillings 130,669,440 to women groups, 60,453,285 to youth groups, and 6,861,275 to PWD's groups. A total of 35,241 individuals have also benefited from the fund. The fund provides training of the beneficiary groups before they are issued with loans. So far, 82,659 beneficiary groups have benefited from these programs within Kisumu County, having 276 groups of youth and women who have been trained on business development services. This builds the skills of entrepreneurship and enables the groups to take advantage of procurement opportunities provided through access to Government Procurement Opportunities Act. Honorable Speaker, all these initiatives and many more have not fully addressed issues such as sector-specific support, associations alignment, and a comprehensive engagement structure. In order to continually address these gaps and provide a more holistic approach to supporting MSME in Kenya, the Ministry has developed a platform that brings together both the public and the private sector with an objective of establishing an MSME development sector ecosystem for sustainable and social economic growth that is generated towards bringing all the stakeholders together through the Kenya Public-Private Sector MSME Dialogue, named MSME Connect. Already, the engagement with MSME have been done with 5 counties, with one held in Kisumu on 28 November 2025, with the participation of over 1,000 enterprises. This has provided an opportunity to all MSME in all counties to market their products, network, and contribute to the policy framework discussion while aligning the business owners to adopt a saving culture through the cooperative. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry is also intentionally facilitating reliable markets for MSME goods and services through national, regional, and cross-border trade fairs, and as such expanding revenues, reduce risks, and generate jobs by enabling MSMEs to scale up. To this end, the Ministry hosted the East African MSME Trade Fair from 7th to 16th November 2025 in Nairobi, which hosted over 5,000 participants across the 8 East African community countries who exhibited their goods and services. During the trade fair, the Ministry held a high-level ministerial meeting with discussions centered on access to finance, digital transformation, access to market, and green competitiveness. And thereafter, a declaration was announced and signed off by the stakeholders. Honorable Speaker, I thank you once again and I submit.
Senator Betsiengo, do you have any supplementary question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My supplementary question goes to the CS and it's on Kitui County. Women and youth traders in Kitui County face exploitation by middlemen and brokers, and their SMEs are not supported. What interventions has the Ministry put in place to protect them and take them through training for capacity building to enable them access markets directly, and affordable credit support programs as well. Thank you.
Senator Mungatana.
Thank you. Asante Bwana Spika kwa kunipa nafasi na mimi niulize swali. Waziri, swali langu ni kuhusu hizi senti ama pesa ambazo zinatumika kwa women empowerment na kusaidia wale ambao wanaishi na disability. Hii pesa katika Kisumu umesema ni milioni 197 na shilingi kadhaa. Sisi watu kutoka Tana River, ningependa kujua ni hela ngapi ambayo imeenda kwa kaunti yetu, kwa sababu wamama wengi wa masoko makubwa kama Garseni, Hola, Madogo wanalalamika kwamba hawapati hii mipango. Unasikiza zinatangazwa kwa serikali lakini hawaioni, alafu sisi tukienda tukiongelea tunaambiwa iko wapi. Kwa hivyo nataka kujua ni hela ngapi ambayo imefika kwa kaunti yetu ya Tana River. Asante Bwana Speaker.
Senator Eddie Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's good to see the CS again today. Bwana CS, there has been a lot of challenges to SMEs in the recent past in the wake of flooding disasters, where you find that a place like Migori County, and even to some extent places like Budalangi, floods have wiped out the simple assets that small and medium enterprises depend on to do their businesses. It takes years for these small and medium enterprises to actually build these small assets to make sure that they can be able to progress with their businesses. What is the ministry doing to intervene, not with credit facilities, but with flexible capital, to intervene and help those traders in Migori Market or even in Kabuto and Sori, places like Budalangi in Western Kenya, so that these small traders can be able to regain their cadence in terms of doing their businesses just by acquiring simple assets to continue with their businesses, especially because even Met has said that in the next seven days, we are still going to experience the same kind of floods and rains that could even affect these markets that we have that are small in our communities. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Chiranke.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it is good to see my neighbor, CS Oparanya. Mine is on the issue of Hustler Fund, Nyota Fund, Youth Fund. Mr. Speaker, he has indicated in response to the issue of access and the high interest rates on the commercial bank loans. My issue, Waziri, as a ministry, do you have intention either to waive these interests, to give them an holiday in terms of payment, or even cancel or absolve some of the loans, not only in Kisumu County, but across the country, Mr. Speaker? I yield back.
Senator Wakwabubi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. CS Oparanya, thank you for the presentation. And I would like to begin by appreciating you for empowering vulnerable groups in Bungoma County last week, in Bumula Sub-County. We have got 8 more sub-counties to go, and also the entire Kenya, because I stand for all parties in the country. My question is this: what interventions is the ministry putting in place to stabilize prices of key commodities like fuel, electricity, transport, basic goods, and the issue of collateral security when these vulnerable groups come to seek for loans? And all those are affecting small-scale traders countrywide. Thank you. I yield.
Senator Muma.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Welcome, CS Oparanya, to the Senate. My question is about the Hustler Fund. Honorable CS among the first days you came here, you indicated that the default rate on the Hustler Fund was quite high. Would you kindly share with this House how much, in terms of percentage, we lost as a country in terms of bad debt relating to the Hustler Fund, and what lessons have been learned and can be shared countrywide openly in order for the future such funds to actually perform better?
Senator Mwenda Getaya.
Waziri, ningependa kujua, unajua huduma ya Fuliza ilianza kwa msisimko mkubwa sana. Lakini nimepata taarifa kwa wafanyikazi wengi, wafanyabiashara wengi sana wadogo ambao wanasema kwamba hiyo huduma imefifia. Sijui wizara yako iko na mpango gani ya kufufua hiyo huduma ndio wale wafanyabiashara ndogo waweze kunufaika kwa hiyo huduma.
Honorable CS, you may now respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Siengo asked about how we are dealing with the small-scale traders in her region. Let me, Mr. Speaker, say here categorically that the interventions that I mentioned are countrywide. We do not segregate for a particular region. Organization of these groups, we sensitize them. We have officers all over the country who sensitize these groups, who are there to make sure that when these groups are together, they are registered under MSEA. That is the process we call formalization. And each sub-county has an officer from MSEA to ensure that those groups are put together, they are registered, and they are trained. After being trained, it is up to those groups to make sure that they apply facilities amongst the funds, the many funds that have been created by the government. Thereafter, if they get the funds, Mr. Speaker, then we go in to train them for financial literacy so that they are able to know how those groups would manage their finances. This we have done it countrywide, but as I mentioned, we have also the MSME Connect. This is a forum where we involve, as a government, we involve private sectors. People, there are private sectors who are also dealing with these small traders. We have NGOs who are there. So we are also putting them together so that we have a uniform way of dealing with these small traders in terms of encouraging them to come together, in terms of the curriculum when we are training them for financial literacy. Mheshimiwa Mngatana uliuliza mambo ya pesa kule Tana River. Ni pesa ngapi ambao tumeisaidia Tana River? Sasa sikujua utauliza swali kama hilo, lakini ukitaka ujue ile pesa ambao kupitia kwa hizi mipango ambao tunayo katika wizara, niko tayari baada ya hii tuende kwa ofisi, au kama siende kwa ofisi, niko tayari kuleta hiyo jibu kupitia kwa Mheshimiwa Speaker. On the issue of Migori County, you talked of disaster. Disaster is a cross-cutting issue. It's very difficult to pin disaster on one particular ministry. And when we have disaster, mainly the Ministry of Internal Security plays a leading role. It is a multi-ministerial agencies come together to deal with disasters. So a portion that is applicable to my ministry, you are a portion and you see how to deal with it. And in most cases, you find also, if the disaster is not material, then you find that we leave that disaster to be dealt at the county level. So county governments have also a role to play. Being a governor of Migori, when we have minor disasters involving few traders, maybe floods along the river, maybe there are 4 or 5 of them, then it is important that your first contact should be the governor of Migori to help you. But if it is excess, then the national government comes into multi-agency. Mambo ya Hustler Fund. Hustler Fund, at the moment, it is a very successful fund, I can tell you. Over 27 million Kenyans are now borrowing and repaying a Hustler Fund. The senator says that we give them a whole day, that we waive. There's no free lunch. This money is given for these people to do business. And as you know, government does not do business. The government also sometimes borrows this money from elsewhere to make sure that they cushion these traders, and the government has to pay with even a low interest rate. However, Uwezo Fund is interest-free. Uwezo Fund, where we encourage groups to come together, work together, we train them. Those particular funds are interest-free, and I will encourage you members of the Senate to be very close to your members, especially those women groups and youth groups, to help them, sensitize them on what the government can do for them, because being their representative, you have more information, you are more knowledgeable than them. Now, on the issue of the nominated senator from Bungoma, thank you, Senator, for attending my functions when I was there, where facts have been misrepresented. But I thank you for coming. Stabilization of prices is something that cannot be approached for one ministry. It is a whole government approach. But the Ministry of Finance plays a key role in stabilizing monetary issues, fiscal issues. Also, the role of central bank is very critical. So it's not just an issue of one ministry. This a multi-ministerial, it's a national government entire approach. So this is not an issue that I can tell you that I can have the right answer for you. But what I can say as a ministry, we are just trying to cushion small businesses by making sure that they get credit, affordable credit from various funds created by the government, and this also improves in stabilization of prices to some extent, because their products are fairly priced to the people. On the issue of collateral, the issue of collateral has been an issue, especially when you talk about small traders who don't have fixed assets at the moment that they can use for collateral. And that's why the government has introduced Hustler Fund. With the Hustler Fund is a digital financing ecosystem that you do not need collateral at all. And Hustler Fund now, if you are a good borrower, you borrow and you repay. Now you have a limit of borrowing up to 150,000 shillings, which you can borrow at very low interest rate, but no collateral at all. I will encourage members of parliament here, the senators, to be part of the ecosystem of Hustler Fund. Because unless you are in need, then you cannot educate other members of your members of your community. On the Hustler Fund default rate, usually when a new thing comes up, people rush to test to see what is in there. And this is what happened with Hustler Fund. Quite a number of people who came in, about 7 million came in, borrowed, and some disappeared. We have been talking to these people, and I can assure you that some of them have been able to pay. But it is not all lost. We are encouraging them that please pay, and when you pay, your credit limit is enhanced, and so you are able to borrow more. And in any case, if we want to follow them legally, we have the ID numbers, because the borrowing is attached to ID numbers, so all is not lost. I can say we have not lost, but there are small pairs. At the moment, the default rate is very, very low. Out of that, what is borrowed, 90% is paid within the expected period. Naye mheshimiwa Senator wa mwisho aliuliza mambo ya Fuliza. Unajua Fuliza haiko chini ya national government. Fuliza hiyo ni mambo ya Safaricom ambayo mimi sijui. Mimi mambo yangu ni Hustler Fund. Kwa hivyo ikiwa mambo ya Fuliza, nafikiria tulikuwa hapa na ule ICT CS angekusaidia kwa hayo. Mambo yangu ni Hustler Fund. So ukiwa na maswali ya Hustler Fund, niko tayari kuwajibu. Asante.
We will now move to question number 35 by the nominated Senator MATIANG'I. However, before I allow the Senator to ask the question, allow me to make this communication. Now, honorable Senators, would like to acknowledge the presence in the Speaker's gallery this morning, of a visiting delegation of the former Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, KPCU, staff and farmers. The delegation is in attendance to follow the proceedings of the Senate in relation to question number 35 and 36 by the Honorable Senator MATIANG'I MP to the Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Development. On behalf of the Senate and on my own behalf, I extend a warm welcome to the delegation and wish them a fruitful visit. Honorable MATIANG'I, as you rise to ask the question, you can extend a word of welcome to the delegation. You may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I take this chance to welcome the guests who are seated to follow the proceedings and the answer to the questions that I've raised, because they are directly affected by this. Honorable Speaker, I come from Eastern Kitui County, and these great citizens of Kenya, majority of them come from Central. This is a message to say that Kenya is one, and we need a united country. Feel welcome, follow the proceedings. I'm happy that you got time to be here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Now going to my two questions. Honorable CS, who is also my friend. I have this concern for Kenyans who have served in this country, and they have been following their dues, as my question goes. Honorable CS, when will the ministry ensure payment of outstanding terminal dues to the laid-off staff of the defunct Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, KPCU, numbering 402, who were separated from service between 2002 and 2010, and who are owed approximately 400 million. B, could the Cabinet Secretary state whether the ministry has comprehensive payment schedule for settlement of the said staff dues, indicating timelines, amounts payable, and beneficiaries, and whether the schedule provides for interest accruing from the date the payments fell due, including timelines for payment of such interest. Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether I'll leave it at that because the following question is also mine.
Are they related so that the Honorable CS can take them at once?
Okay, let him respond to that, then I'll ask the second.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I also want to also acknowledge the presence of the delegation from Eastern on this particular important issue. It shows how this particular answer is important to them. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I wish to respond to question number 35 by the Senator Petsienko, and my response is as follows. The ministry will settle the outstanding staff terminal dues amounting to Kenya shillings 528,691,304.81 under the COV debt waiver program in the second quarter of the financial year 2026-2027. For B, the ministry has a comprehensive payment schedule for settlement of the said staff dues. At the time of receivership, the staff terminal dues stood at 528,691,304.81. This comprised of a former MD and deputy MD at 12,371,448.10. General staff dues 7,896,687.55. Statutory liabilities 64,640,371, and staff creditors 340,438,017.86, and provision for court awards, legal costs and interest on staff dues of 100,103,344,584.66. The outstanding staff terminal dues shall be paid under the coffee debt waiver program in the second quarter of financial year 2026-2027. And Mr. Speaker, I want to add and apologize that these payments have been outstanding for long, and I know the affected employees have really suffered. But I want to make a commitment here that we shall make sure that these payments are made as stated in my statement.
Very well, Honorable CS. Senator Beth Sengo, do you have any supplementary question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I really appreciate the CS for his response. However, I have this supplementary. Some of the staffs have passed on, others who are sick are unable to access medical care, and other expenses such as food, shelter, and school fees. The ministry has been promising, as you have already indicated, Bwana CS, that you are going to pay. What guarantee is there that this matter will be concluded?
Bwana CS? No, that's my formula. Honorable CS, respond to the supplementary question. The prime supplementary question.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to promise here that already this payment has been approved by the Cabinet, and already it is going to be allocated in the coming financial year. The debt waiver was audited and established at 6.8 billion Kenya shillings. Out of that, Mr. Speaker, already the ministry has been given 2 billion Kenya shillings, and we are expecting 4.8 billion shillings, of which we have prioritized payment of this staff dues. And these matters arose because there was a receivership. And when there is a receivership, sometimes our hands are tied. We have to operate within the receivership regulation and laws, and that's why it has taken quite a bit to pay this particular staff. But let me guarantee you, Madam Siengo, that this amount will be paid as stated. Because this was a commitment by His Excellency the President when he promised to waive coffee debts, and these staff were lucky that part of the receivership amounts that were outstanding from the old KPCU amounting to 1.4 billion was included in that particular amount.
Let's get other supplementary questions. Senator Chelege.
Mr. Speaker, I extend a warm welcome to the suffering KPCU. Mr. Speaker, members, and I hope this matter can be. My only concern, Mr. Speaker, is that the minister, and I thank CS Oparanya because he's a very brief and to the point, and I hope other ministers will learn from him. So, Speaker, my only concern, he says there an outstanding of 528,691,304, but the end of the response there, the minister indicates that it has its coffee debt waiver program in the second quarter of financial year 2026-2027. My concern is the minister has not gone on record to indicate whether during the budget policy statement and financial and budget allocation is there. Because, Mr. Speaker, sir, if the budgetary allocation is not there, then this is just a statement. So how much was allocated to clear this 500 million plus? Some of them have died, some of them are sickly, some of them are depressed. Mr. Speaker, sir, and we don't want to subject Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, sir. They say if you want to know the strength of a nation, you know how they treat their most vulnerable in terms of need. So can the CS go on record and tell us the amount cited here has been allocated by the National Assembly in the financial year 2026-2027? I yield back, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Very well, Senator Wakwabubi, Consolata.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I happen to come from coffee growing region, and that's why I'll keep coming on stage to advocate for anything that relates to coffee. I have this supplementary question to CS Oparanya. I've been following you in various platforms advocating for people to plant a lot of coffee. Now that the pool is becoming vast, can you tell this House the long-term policy interventions the government will implement to prevent recurrence of unpaid terminal dues in parastatals and cooperative institutions undergoing restructuring? Thank you.
Honorable CS, answer. No, let's get this other one from Senator Bugwa.
Thank you, Speaker. CS, the question by Senator Siengo had initially asked for a figure of 400 million, and in your response you are saying you are ready to pay 528 million. Could you provide a comprehensive list, even if it is not now, for these Kenyans to know that their names will not be missing when the payment time comes? Thank you.
I'll respond to the three supplementary questions, Honorable CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the first question, let me assure this House that, as mentioned earlier, the total figure that His Excellency the President committed himself to pay as coffee debts, of which 1.4 is included under the receivership of the old KPCU, 2 billion was already dispersed to the ministry by the Treasury this financial year. But the 2 billion went to pay for those coffee farmers who had borrowed from commercial banks because they were under stress to be auctioned. And that's why we gave those particular debts a priority when we use the 2 billion Kenya shillings. I want to assure this House, Mr. Speaker, that the coming financial year, we have already agreed with the necessary agencies that 2 billion will again be allocated to us the next financial year, 2026-2027, and I want to assure this House that the people, this staff have suffered enough, and they are going to get the first priority to be paid out of the 2 billion Kenya shillings. They will be the first one to be paid. And if they are not paid out of the 2 billion, I'm ready to be summoned here to be clearly here why I lied to this House. The other question by the senator, my sister from Bungoma, the issue of long-term intervention and paid payments. Mr. Speaker, as a ministry, we found out that there were weaknesses in governance in cooperatives and in circles. That's why some of these issues have been reoccurring year in, year out. As a long-term solution, the ministry has come up with I reviewed or revised Cooperative Bill 2025, which is already has gone through this House. It has also gone through the National Assembly, and now it is at mediation level. We are certain that if that particular bill is enacted, most of the weaknesses that we have been having in cooperatives will be sorted out. Issues of governance, issues of term limit, issues of supervision, they are all have been addressed within that bill. Secondly, we have also the SACCO, Societies Amendment Bill, which is already before the National Assembly, and it is on their way. They have gone through it. It is on its way to this House. And please, I plead with you that when it comes before you, look at it objectively so that we are able to pass it. And if the two bills, the Mother Bill and the SACCO Bill, both of them pass, they will be able to resolve some of these issues. There will be non-payment because it medicates against such issues. I think those are the three questions.
This one from Senator Chalgei.
The last one is the list of beneficiaries. I never carried. I have the list, and it can be availed. I have my colleague here who is supporting me from New KPCU. I want to direct him to provide that list of beneficiaries so that, Mr. Speaker, it can be forwarded to your office for the consumption of the Member of Parliament.
Senator Chalgei, what is your point of clarification?
Mr. Speaker, you know, I only want one commitment from the CS on budgetary allocation. He is saying there is 2 billion Kenya shillings, but he has not committed that out of 2 billion Kenya shillings, the amount of 500 plus million that should be allocated to declare these employees of KPCU, he has not met that commitment that in their allocation.
Chalgei, what he said, and I saw the former employees nodding and they were happy, is that he gave his commitment to clear the pending bill of the former employees first. First priority is to clear them.
Mr. Speaker,
I don't know whether my English and yours are the same and the English.
No, Mr. Speaker, you know, I went to the great school of Kapsawet boys, where it has produced 2 or 3 presidents of this country, including the current one. My only concern is he has said there is 2 billion that has been allocated to the ministry to look into this issue of coffee debt waiver. My only concern is he willing, as per the priority and schedule list of the beneficiaries of former employees, including, and Senator Siengo has put it correctly, including the estate of the deceased and the sickly who cannot access those funds, including the administrators, so that any person who has passed on, the administrators or their beneficiaries can be able to benefit from the payout. That's not only my concern, but I appreciate with the way he's committed to resolve this matter once and for all in this financial year. I yield back, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I don't want to bring the CS on that matter back to the podium because this House has clearly absorbed its commitment, and it is on record that you will clear all the issues. And he has committed also to give the list to the representative of the KPCU members. So maybe what I can request is that the CS also has also said that he wants to be summoned again back to this House if he doesn't pay. So his commitment, and I know where he comes from, I know he is really committed, because my culture and his culture is almost the same. So when a man says, I commit, you take that as a gospel truth. And also the PS is aware, if we say yes, it is yes. A no is a no. So let's go to the next question, kindly.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, question 036. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain when the ministry plans to pay outstanding proceeds due to coffee farmers for coffee sold through the defunct Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, KPU, in the coffee pool year 2008-2009, amounting to approximately 60 million? B, could the Cabinet Secretary further explain whether the ministry has a payment schedule for the affected farmers indicating timelines, amounts, payable and beneficiaries, and whether the schedule provides for interest accrued from the date that proceeds fell due, including timelines for payment of such interests? Thank you.
Bwana CS will respond.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, let me on the onset say that such issues of delayed payments will never happen again. Since then, reforms have been undertaken, and now at the moment, those farmers who sell their coffee through the Nairobi Coffee Exchange get their payments within 5 days after the auction date. So, Mr. Speaker, that is a commitment, and those are reforms that has happened in the coffee sector all along. But, Mr. Speaker, I wish to respond to question number 36 by the Senator Siango as follows. On A, the ministry plans to pay the outstanding balance of 56,392,928.87 cents proceeds due to coffee farmers for coffee sold through the Kenya Planters Cooperative Union, KPCU, in the coffee pool year 2008-2009 under the coffee debt waiver program in the second quarter of the financial year. Number B, the ministry has a payment schedule for the affected farmers. The outstanding amount to coffee growers in the coffee pool 2008-2009 was 56,392,928.87 cents. This is after the previous settlement of 50,667,514.99 cents, which means the total figure, Mr. Speaker, was over 100 million, and not only 60 million, out of which 56 million has been paid. There is an outstanding balance of 50 million. This amount is inclusive of interest at that time. The outstanding amount to coffee growers shall therefore be paid under the coffee debt waiver in the second quarter of the financial year 2026-2027. And I want to categorically state here that this question has similarity with the previous question, because this amount is part of the 1.4 billion owed to staff and various suppliers of the old KPCU, which has been included in the coffee debt waiver program for the second quarter of 2026-2027, and I want to confirm that this amount has already been proposed for allocation in the budget of 2026, 2025, 2026, 2027 financial year.
Senator Beth Siengo, if you have any supplementary question, again.
Thank you. I think the clarity was on the year, the budgetary allocation, because he has mentioned two. So kindly, I would only request for that clarity. Which financial year?
Any other supplementary questions, Senator Chalagay?
Mr. Speaker, just further clarification on this payout to under KPCU and proceeds to coffee farmers. Waziri, if it is not of trouble too much, there was a small matter also that happened with the old KCC and new KCC. So I really wanted to find out from other sectors apart from coffee. There was one, the non-payment of former KCC workers and payment to KCC, all KCC to farmers, if there is any other sector that needs to be paid, and whether the ministry has allocated. If you can provide now the response or through the Speaker in the course of a few days, I'll be very grateful. I yield back, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I'm interested with the KPCU issues first. Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what I want is a confirmation from the Cabinet Secretary. The Cabinet Secretary says there is a proposal in the budget of 2026-27 financial year. Did the proposal from the ministry originate from the ministry, and does that specific figure as a priority for the ministry, Honorable Speaker, and whether there is any evidence to show that is actually in the proposal? When you look at this matter, it's a matter of 2008. We are now in 2026. Even the very farmers we are trying to pay, some of them, I don't know how they are going to receive that due, but probably when we offer offerings in the church, they will celebrate in heaven. So the few are still alive. They should be paid as soon as possible. So we want a confirmation and evidence that is actually in the budget. And it is upon the ministry to make sure that that allocation remains in the budget and whether it is a priority in the budget.
Senator Mandago, unfortunately, you know, you have just come, but we really conversed that matter. But for the interest, since you are one of the key representatives from the lift, you'll just get an opportunity to just give you that surety. But he really committed himself to those figures. Any other member? No. So, Honorable CS, you can answer those two. And if you'll attempt to answer the KCC and the new KCC matter. Okay.
Thank you very much. I want to categorically state here that the financial year I'm talking about is 2026-2027, and that is where we have provided. Where it is now up to the National Assembly either to reduce or increase. Otherwise, where it is, it has gone through the various stages, and we are hopeful that this figure of 2 billion will be in the final budget approved by the National Assembly or allocated by the National Assembly. And as I've said here, I want to commit myself that this amount is part of the 1.4 billion that we are giving priority to have this matter of the old KPCU matter rest on the debts of the old KPCU, so that we are now able to deal with now the new KPCU issues. On the issue of KCC, I'm not attempting to answer, but I can categorically say I have the capacity because I know what is happening. On new KCC staff, what happened, this issue is different from from the old KPCU issue of staff, because these are staff dues which are direct there. But on new KCC, it involved even SACCO deductions. It involved those people who used to work with staff, in addition with those staff of the old KCC. Because now the new SACCO, the Maziwa SACCO is no longer there. What we have done, we have formed, through your directive of this House, we have formed an interministerial committee comprising the Ministry of Cooperatives and the MSME, the Treasury, and the Labor, Ministry of Labor. 3 ministries, already a technical committee has met, and they have now an interim report that I will be presenting to this House through the proposals that have been made by the committee on how that particular amount owed to new KCC staff, to the old KCC staff, and also to the Maziwa SACCO that is now defunct.
We go to the next question, number 039, Senator for Nyandarua County, Senator Medhu. Senator Mohamed, in fact, you can ask on his behalf.
Yes, Your Honor, I was authorized by Senator Methu to ask this question on his behalf. Mr. Speaker, sir, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a justification? Sorry, question number 039, being asked by the Senator for Nyandarua County, Senator John Methu. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide justification for the suspension of SACCO societies registration in the country, and state whether public participation was conducted before the decision was taken? Number B, when will the registration resume? And C, what measures has the ministry put in place to mitigate against the adverse impact of the suspension on financial inclusion, savings mobilization, and access to affordable credit, especially among the youth who have already organized themselves under the proposed societies such as the Rise Up SACCO Society in Githurai 45, but are unable to obtain formal registration due to the suspension? Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Cabinet Secretary, please.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to respond to question number 39 by the Senator for Nyandarua County. For A, the ministry has noted the mixed performance of the savings and credit cooperative SACCO subsector. In order to reform this subsector, the ministry appointed a team of experts on 20th May 2025 to review the legal and institutional frameworks and other operational areas and come up with recommendations to assist the ministry to develop policies and guidelines towards the improvement or transforming of the sector. During the formal engagement of the Committee of Experts on SACCO sector reforms in May 2025, the ministry announced the suspension on the registration of new SACCOs. This decision was taken as a precautionary measure to safeguard members' interests and allow for a comprehensive review for the sector's regulatory and governance landscape. The reasons for suspension were as follows. 1, to allow time to reform the legal and regulatory framework. Number 2, to prevent the brand dilution and market saturation. Number 3, to enable cleanup of existing SACCOs landscape. Number 4, protection of member savings amid governance failures that have occurred in the sector. And number 5, to align Kenya with global best practices. The suspension of registration of SACCOs was not a freeze, but a strategic pause to protect members, restore integrity, and lay the foundation for a resilient, well-regulated SACCO sector. It was to ensure that future SACCOs are not just registered, but ready to serve, govern ethically, and align with Kenya's financial inclusion goals and objectives. Mr. Speaker, Section 93 of the Cooperative Societies Act, Cap 490, provides that the Cabinet Secretary may from time to time direct the Commissioner for Cooperative Development on the exercise of his powers and duties under the Act, and hence this does not require public participation. For B, the Committee of Experts handed over its report on the transformation of the SACCO systems in Kenya just last month. This landmark report made a significant recommendation and if the recommendations are adopted, this is going to be a milestone in our collective efforts to build a SACCO system that is resilient, transparent, well-governed, and fit for the future. As a result, the registration of SACCOs has resumed, but under new administrative registration guidelines. For number C, the moratorium on the registration only related to SACCOs because of their financial mediation business involving collecting deposits from the public and offering the same as loans, which calls for government intervention to protect members' said deposits. As earlier stated, the registration of SACCOs has resumed, but under new administrative registration guidelines. It is important to note that many small SACCOs are registered all over the country to only provide back office service activity called BOSA, or otherwise known as non-deposit taking. Many of these are inactive and exist just on paper. Those that are active are neither stable nor financially viable because they serve just a few members with a limited impact on financial inclusion. Consequently, a time has come for the SACCO sector to explore market-driven solutions for consultations and mergers of these very small BOSA-only SACCOs. This is the only way to ensure their financial viability and stability. In this regard, officials of SACCOs operating within the same or similar traditional economic and social common bonds are being requested to immediately start conversation relating to mergers as a solution to their survival. This is the way to go in order to have a prosperous SACCO sector. The ministry shall issue guidelines to facilitate the amalgamation of the cooperative societies.
Senator Faki, do you have a supplementary question?
Sina swala la ziada, ni kutoa maoni tu kwamba kusimamishwa kwa uandikishaji wa vikundi vya SACCO, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa sababu ya mikakati ya kurekebisha sheria za uandikishaji ni sawa na kuzuia watu wasiweze kuzaa, kwa sababu kuna baadhi ya wale watoto wanaozaliwa ni wahalifu. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Spika, waziri amekubali kwamba wameanza kufungua. Kwa hivyo tuna matumaini kwamba SACCO zitaweza kuandikishwa kwa wale ambao hawajahusika na vikundi vya SACCO. Asante Mheshimiwa Spika.
Senator Mungatana, you have a supplementary question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, SACCOs are very, very famous as instruments of doing business in the matatu industries. And people are investing in this business every single day. Many people, because it's a necessity for many Kenyans who go to work and back home, and others who go to further up country. So, Mr. Speaker, it was quite sad to hear that the minister has suspended the registration of new SACCOs, and although he has explained a good reason for doing so, and which we accept, what we needed are clear timelines. Like, Kenyans now listening to him would want to know exactly when is it that they can now resume registration, because people are buying vehicles every day, and people don't want sometimes to go to established SACCOs, especially in certain routes, because those SACCOs, as you well pointed out, Waziri, some of those SACCOs are very badly managed. You have agreements with them, the owners of the vehicles are not paid on time, management is not good, the workers are not disciplined, and that investment doesn't pay. So what we wanted to know is, when are you, what is the timeline, what is the framework for telling Kenyans that this is the time now you can go and register new SACCOs in those different lines for matatus to operate? I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you very much. Lile swali la kwanza, wakati niliingia kwa ofisi, wale ambao wanaendelea kusikiza mambo ya SACCOs katika nchi hii, mnakumbuka ya kwamba wakati huo tulikuwa na lile shirika la KUSCO, ambao pesa mingi za wananchi zilipotea, karibu bilioni 13. Wakati huo pia tulikuwa na shirika la Metropolitan kule Kiambu, ambako bilioni 7 sana wananchi zilipotea. Kwa hivyo nikiwa waziri singeweza kukaa tu na kuangalia pesa za wananchi zinapotea. Ndio kwa sababu tuliwaamua kama wizara tuangalie ni nini suluhisho la ambalo linaweza kusaidia pesa za wananchi zikiwa kwa SACCO siwe zinaangaliwa vizuri. Ndio nikaja na hiyo kamati ya expert ambayo imeleta recommendation nzuri. Pili, tulisema tuko na kwa register ya SACCOS katika nchi hii tuko na SACCOS 14,000 14,000, na ukiangalia zile ambazo zinaleta returns ni chache sana. Kwa hivyo niliamuru commissioner wa cooperative aandike barua kwa hizi SACCOS zote silete returns. Kwa hizo 14,000 karibu 2,000 peke yake ndio zimeleta returns. Ni kuonyesha ya kwamba zingine ziko tu kwa majina lakini hazifanyi kazi yoyote. Na zikiwa hivyo, tuko na wananchi wengine walakai ambao wanatumia zile inactive SACCOS kuchukua pesa kutoka kwa wananchi. So ile kondia ambayo mimi nimechukua ni kuona ya kwamba pesa za wananchi ambazo ziko kwa SACCOS zinatunzwa vizuri. On the issue of issue raised by Mheshimiwa Mungatana on registration of SACCOS, on the timeline, I've said already that now we have new guidelines. And the new guidelines are very clear. For anybody who wants to register, there are now new guidelines. One, you must show that you have their specific promoters. Who are the promoters of this SACCO? Is there a bank account? And if the bank account is there...
Cabinet Secretary, there is an intervention from Senator Mandago who wants to seek a clarification on an initial answer.
Yes. Mheshimiwa Speaker, mimi nasimama kuuliza kulingana na kanuni za kudumu za bunge. Ukianza kujibu swali kwa kutumia lugha moja, unafaa kutumia lugha hiyo mpaka ukamilisha. Waziri ameanza kwa kujibu swali kutumia Kiswahili. Je, ni sawa akifika pale katikati aende kwenye Kiingereza ili hali wananchi wakulima walikuwa nafuatilia kwa Kiswahili?
Senator Mandago, nitakujibu mwenyewe hiyo swali. Swali alikuwa anajibu ni ya Senator Mohamed Faki na aliuliza kwa Kiswahili. Ndo akaamua kumjibu kwa Kiswahili. Senator Mungatana aliuliza kwa Kiingereza. Ndo anamjibu kwa Kiingereza kwa vile anafuata kanuni ya bunge. Na lazima ukumbuke waziri alikuwa mbunge.
Thank you for protecting me. And Mr. Mandago is taking me as a layman. He knows my experience in this house. I think he was just pulling my leg. Yeah. And Mr. Speaker, thank you for protecting me. I've said now, for those who want to register a SACCO, they must have promoters, they must have a bank account, and that bank account must at least have 10 million Kenya shillings. To show some viability, they must be proper bylaws, and they must complete application forms and take to the relevant director of cooperatives at the county level, who will countersign before it is forwarded to Commissioner of Cooperative for consideration, and they must also attach a cash flow for the next 3 years to show that this is a viable SACCO. These are some of the conditions that we have put in place to make sure that we have serious institutions that will be taking care of the interests of the members. And lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to commit myself that those SACCOs now can be able to register, having fulfilled the conditions that are pointed here, are able to register immediately, so long as they satisfy those conditions.
We'll take 2 supplementary questions from Senator Kamar, and then followed by Senator Murango.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. First, I want to thank the Minister for the questions that he has given from earlier in the day and the assurance that he continues to give this House that he is ready even to come back. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure this House that Moi University Circle has been revived, courtesy the Minister has promised to this House, and we really want to thank him for that. In fact, the registration certificate is out already. I just want to ask the Minister two clarifications. One is that cooperative societies are actually, except for policy, devolved. And if they are devolved, what role did the county governments play in this new, did they have their own? Because public participation really, from the questioner, is not for us or for anybody else, but for county governments to participate because of the way county governments do their things, that they must have public participation. Were they involved in any way, or are they being inducted at all? Are they aware already as CECs of cooperatives or chief officers of cooperatives, so that we don't go for the same mistakes? Number two clarification is 2,000 out of 14,000 having responded is a very low figure, as you have said, Waziri. But I'm wondering, what are you doing with the balance? Are you writing letters to them, warning letters, or what is it that's going to happen to make them respond? Because they are still there on the ground. Are we going to have a session for them to come back, or are they going to re-register? Thank you.
Asante Mr. Speaker. Okay. Swali ambalo ningetaka kumuuliza waziri ya kwanza ni kabla ya kuvunjilia mbali kuandikishwa kwa vyama vya akiba na mikopo, kuna kitu moja ambao naona inakuwa makosa makubwa, kwa sababu Mr. Speaker, huwezi choma gara kwa sababu panya ameingia kwa gara. Kuna wale wahusika wakubwa, najua wako hata Kirinyaga, ambao bado tunangojea majibu, kama Mwitevia Rural Sacco ambao walipotea na pesa za umma, Roma Cooperative ambao walipotea na pesa ya umma. Lakini sababu kubwa ya watu kujiandikisha kwenye vyama vipya vya ushirika na vyama vya akiba na mikopo ni kwa sababu vile vyama wako navyo tayari havina uwazi. Kuna wizi katika vile vyama. Na pia niseme kwamba pia kumekuwa na utepetevu, kwa sababu katika ofisi yako waziri ni kwamba si lazima mngojee mpaka vyama vya ushirika waimbe pesa za umma, na tunajua pia kuna SASRA, mojawapo ya taasisi ambazo zinafaa kuangalia hizi vyama. Alafu wakija wakifanya ubadhirifu wa pesa, mnakuja mnafunga kuandikisha. Mr. Speaker, hiyo ni sawasawa tu na mtu akona ugonjwa wa kuhara, lakini kuliko utafute ndawa ufikirie kushona mahali shida inatokea. Kwa hivyo ningeuliza waziri, ni lini tutawajibika vizuri tuhakikishe kwamba wananchi hawapati shida kwa sababu ya vyama vya ushirika na vyama vya akiba na mikopo bila kufunga njia ya haki na kisheria ambayo wamepewa kuandikisha vyama? Hiyo ni swali la kwanza. Na la mwisho, Mr. Speaker, nikipitia, hii ni maoni yangu tu, kwa sababu unajua waziri ni rafiki yangu na alikuwa Kirinyaga juzi juu ya vyama vya ushirika na matatizo tulio nayo kwa sababu ya ndeni ya kahawa. Waziri, ukienda tukumbuke. Asante Mr. Speaker.
Senator Murango, nataka nikupe nafasi ubadilishe lile neno ulisema kwa kutumia lugha ambayo inafaa ndani ya bunge. Na mimi najua unajua Kiswahili iko neno mingi ya hiyo maradhi ulisema mtu akiwa naye.
Mr. Speaker, unajua kwenye mwili ya binadamu kuna viungo tofauti tofauti. Sijui kwa nini tunaona aibu, tunataja mdomo, tunataja mapua, lakini tukifika sehemu zingine tunaona aibu. Mr. Speaker, hata kwa kamusi hilo neno liko na sikulitaja, nimepeana.
Senator Murango, sikusema usimame na ufafanue ile kitu ulisema. Nimekuambia ubadilishe kwa kutumia lugha ambayo ni ya bunge.
Mr. Speaker, neno gani hilo Mr. Speaker? Kwa sababu sikutaja.
Usinifanye nirudie Murango, Senator Murango, unajua vizuri sana ile lugha, ile neno na kuambia ubadilishe.
Nikumbushe, naomba Mr. Speaker nikumbushwe kwa sababu sikumbuki nikisema jambo lolote ambalo sifai kutumia. Mr. Speaker.
Mkumbushe Senator Mandago.
Unajua mstahiki Speaker, seneta wa Kirinyaga anajaribu kucheza mchezo wa paka na panya. Ulitoa mfano ya ugonjwa wa kuendesha, lakini neno ambalo nilitumia si kuendesha. Hilo neno tutafaa sasa urekebishe.
Mstahiki Speaker, nitambadilisha jina kuhara niseme kuendesha, lakini kuhara na kuendesha maana ni sawa. Mstahiki Speaker.
Sawa Murango. Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Kamar, for appreciating what we did for the Moi University SACCO. I think now it has been revived, and as a senator of that region, I hope you put your interest there so that that SACCO is able to serve the people of the university. Now, we acknowledge here that cooperatives are devolved. As you know very well, there are cooperatives that operate within a county, and there are also cooperatives that operate beyond the boundaries of one county. So there are county cooperatives, and there are also county national cooperatives that operate throughout the country. So this was a challenge, because you can't have a national cooperative being subjected to 47 county laws. It will create a problem. So these are some of the issues that we have now addressed in the new cooperative bill. And the new cooperative bill has clearly defined the responsibility of the county governments and the responsibility of the national government. It has also assigned roles clearly, and the types of cooperatives have also been segmented in terms of primary cooperatives, secondary cooperatives, and federal cooperatives, and apex cooperatives, where secondary and primary cooperatives operate within the county, national cooperatives, federal cooperatives operate nationally, and apex cooperative at the national level. So the two, apex and federal, have been assigned to the national government, and the primary and secondary have been assigned to the county government. So the roles are now very, very clear. Now, the issue of 2,000 versus 14,000. What the ministry is going to do, it will put in the newspapers the 2,000 SACCOs that have responded by making sure that their returns are up to date. And they will give 30 days to the balance of 12,000 to respond. If they don't respond in 30 days, we'll assume they are either inactive or they are not there, they are not operating, and therefore they will be clearly deregistered, and will therefore conduct the Association of Bankers to make sure that if any of those ones are holding bank accounts elsewhere, in any of the banks, then those bank accounts should be closed so that they are not misused in future to defraud innocent people their hard-won wealth. So that is what we are doing, Mr. Speaker. Mambo ya wizi wa pesa katika SACCOS. Hapa awali nilisema ya kwamba wakati niliingia wizara tulikuwa na mambo mengi ambayo ilikuwa inaendelea, kwa mambo ya Cusco, kwa mambo ya Metropolitan, pesa mingi zilipotea kule Cusco, bilioni 12, kule Metropolitan bilioni 7. Ni mpaka lazima tuwe na njia ya kuona ya kwamba wananchi wakiweka pesa zao katika SACCO, hizi pesa zinatumika vile inatakikana. Ndio kwa sababu tulionelea, kwa sababu pesa ziliendelea kupotea na tulikuwa na complaints nyingi, mabarua nyingi kutoka kwa sekta fulani, ndio tukaamua wacha tuangalie, tustopishe, tulete kamati ambayo itaangalia experts. Nikapata hao wataalam wa kuangalia hata mambo, nilipata hata wawili kutoka kule ng'ambo wasaidie sisi hapa, na pata Wakenya wako ambao wamesomea haya mambo. Nikawaweka hapa watu 5 kuangalia haya mambo, na sasa hivi wameleta report ambayo itasaidia sekta hiyo. Ndio kwa sababu tulisimamisha, na hapa awali nimesema tayari tumeanzisha usajili wa wale ambao watakuwa wanafuata zile ambazo zinatakikana, na nina hakika ile SACCO amendment ikija hapa, itakuja hapa, iko katika National Assembly, ikifika hapa muiangalie kwa makini, kwa sababu tunataka tulinde mali ya wananchi. Ni hiyo ndio kazi ya wizara. SASRA ilikuwa na mamlaka ya SASRA ilikuwa limited, yani SASRA ilikuwa iangalie wale SACCOS ambao wana mali ya milioni 100 kwenda mbele. Ile recommendation ambayo imekuja sasa imesema shilingi ikiwa kwa banki na shilingi ambayo iko kwa cooperative siko sawa. Kwa hivyo mamlaka ya SASRA sasa imepanuliwa ili iangalie cooperative zote, hakuna iangalie ile ya 100 peke yake na iwache hizi zingine, kwa sababu shilingi ni shilingi, hata ikiwa kwa cooperative kubwa, ikiwa kwa SACCO kubwa, ikiwa kwa SACCO ndogo, shilingi ni shilingi. Asanteni, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. We'll take the last batch of questions, starting with Senator Kenyan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Cabinet Secretary has indicated that over 10,000 SACCOs risk being deregistered. Mr. Speaker, that one will lead to less competition, which will consequently bring about higher interest rate on the loans, but low interest rate on the savings of members. What is the Cabinet Secretary going to do to caution the good Kenyans? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next question by Senator Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I refer to the answer by the CS for part A of the question, where he says that as a justification for suspension of SACCO registration, Mr. Speaker, that under 2, it was prevention of broad dilution and market saturation, where he continues to say that there was a proliferation of under-resourced and poorly managed entities. My concern, Mr. Speaker, is that if we know SACCOs that started, very humbly, like Equity Bank started at a very small SACCO. So if we make it a condition that it has to be over-resourced, because he talks about under-resourced SACCOs, then we will risk having, investors with humble beginnings from being registered and therefore kill their dreams, Mr. Speaker. And finally, Mr. Speaker, any SACCOs that have been closed and have actually sunk members' savings, like some two of them in Kirinyaga, Muitaidia SACCO and Roma SACCO, Cooperative SACCO. Exactly what is the guarantee that the CS is giving that members who had saved with these SACCOs will receive their funds, and are you taking legal action against such offenders? Because to seek people's money is an offense. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I would like to ask the Cabinet Secretary, now that there's a report of the task force that was looking at the legal framework and the reforms in the SACCO sector, Honorable Speaker, have they sensitized the cooperatives on the new legal framework as the stakeholders in that sector, Honorable Speaker, of the report?
The last question by Senator Cherargei.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, just my supplementary question on the issue of suspension of registration of cooperative by the Minister. I wanted to get further clarity that he stated Section 93 and the powers of the Minister, and Section 93 and 93A of Cooperative Society Act 490. Looking at the powers of the Minister, one of them does not involve power to order suspension of cooperative society. So my only supplementary on registration of SACCOs, my only supplementary is, where did the Cabinet Minister get the legal powers or President to order suspension and registration? Because looking at other powers of even the Commissioner and powers of the Minister, maybe you can clarify that. I yield back, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, maybe just to put us all on the same page, what are the powers given to the Cabinet Secretary?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Looking at Section 93, it says, of Corporations Act 490, the Minister may at any time or any other direct the Commissioners to exercise of his powers and duties under this Act. Section 93A, other powers of the Commissioner, without prejudice to any other powers under this Act, the Commissioner may call for elections in any cooperative society, A. B, attend meetings of a cooperative society and require every society to send him at a proper time notice and agenda of every meeting and all minutes and communications in respect thereof. C, require the societies update their bylaws. And D, finally, exercise such other powers consistent with this Act as may be prescribed. So of all this power of the Minister and Commissioner, there is nowhere that he has the power and authority to, legally under this Act, to order suspension or cancellation or removal of the SACCOs. Maybe you can clarify.
Senator Cherargei, CAP 490, as described by the Cabinet Secretary. Can you refer to that? CAP 490.
Yes, it talks about the power of the Minister. That is the Cooperative Societies Act, and if the new cooperative, he keeps referring to the new cooperative, unless and until the new Cooperative Act bill is signed into, then we can now refer to that. So I needed that clarity, because the bill is yet to be assented by the President. It is in mediation, and I thank the Minister, who is a seasoned politician, a former member of Parliament, a Cabinet Minister, a political party luminary. I wanted to find, is it hard for him to tell us which power is it using? Is it the power on the bill or the Act itself? That is my only clarity, Mr. Speaker. Yes, in fact, Senator Murango, who opens the doors for the people of Kirinyaga, is the one leading the mediation.
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary, you may respond.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. On the question raised by Honorable Kinyua, Senator Kinyua, I have clearly said that as provided for in law And this law was, the Cooperative Act was established in the 70s. Things have changed. Within that law, it provides that any 10 people can come together and form a cooperative or form a SACCO. 10 people. And looking at what has been happening all along, all these years, over 30 years, over 40 years, most cooperatives that were formed by such a small number have collapsed. That is the experience. So we are talking from evidence. Even if the law provides for 10 at the moment, but we are saying now things have changed, 10 is not viable. And that's why we can say out of 14, only 2 are active. And we have noted that when elections are around the corner is when registration go up. During that time, there is also a Harambee being conducted for SACCOs. The time you hear of a Harambee, because a SACCO should be a self-sustaining institution. The time you hear of a Harambee, know that that SACCO will never survive after the election. As responsible citizens of this country, we must guard resources of innocent members who come together to form a SACCO. And this is the essence of what we are saying. So we are saying SACCOs are all over. They have opened boundaries. They are not tribal.